Good evening. It is me, Pearl and the Prayers. Pearl and the Prayers. It is me, Pearl from Pearl and the Prayers. And this is Tuned In Tarot. And we're here to look at the balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine energy inside of self. Understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see this reflected back to us in our interactions with others, in our external environment. And if we want to see our situations change, we actually have to shift the energy within self. We have to shift our mindset. And hopefully, this reading will help you do that. Normally, I do this reading on Mondays, but I changed it up a little bit and I started doing zodiac readings. I'm going to try it for a couple more weeks. If people are interested in those, I will keep doing them. If it doesn't seem like people care about them, then I won't. And maybe be shifting the collective tune into Wednesday instead of Monday. So that is maybe the new schedule. We'll see how it goes. I'm just trying something different because my YouTube channel was looking a little stagnant in terms of views. And I was thinking maybe people want something else. And I do this so that you can get the messages you want. So hopefully you will be able to. If you didn't know that I did those zodiac readings, they are available, all 12 signs. And it is love readings specifically. They all each have a channeled song and a full spread plus an oracle card. And they run about 10 to 15 minutes-ish. So check those out. The Capricorn one was very popular. It's funny. I would have thought the Capricorn one would have been the least popular based on zodiac. I was thinking that like you wouldn't have as many, like Capricorns would be skeptical of tarot or something. I don't know. Guess I'm wrong about that. Anyway, so I thought that was really interesting. Also, we're hitting Capricorn season, so maybe they're just feeling like checking their zodiac information for this month. Let's get started on the main readings. So the first thing I would like for you to do is don't forget, if you're on TikTok, that this is also live streaming to YouTube at the same moment. So if you can't stay for the whole thing, you can go back to YouTube later and watch the entire thing. And if you ever come in the middle of the collective tune in, you can always go to YouTube, pull the little bar all the way back so that you can see the whole thing from the beginning, which is a nice feature. But I want you to hold in your mind for a moment something that you think would make you feel better. And we don't have to do the whole full guided visualization today. Just kind of take a moment while I get a sip of water here and ask yourself, what would make me feel better right now? What would make me feel better right now? While you have that thing in your mind, I want you to acknowledge that that thing that you think will make you feel better likely would if it happened. And if it did happen, it would give you some feelings. Hello, how are you? It would give you some specific feelings. And so I want you to think for a moment about what feelings it might give you if this thing happened. Relief, excitement, joie de vivre, a reason for living. Like, think about what it is that you think this event is going to give you when it happens, because those feelings are the essence of what you're seeking. And this card that I'm holding is something that will consistently give us the feelings that we're actually thinking that this event is going to give us. And it is the Temperance card. So peace, calm, emotional regulation. So if you are thinking like, finally, I'll be at peace. Hi, Jessica. How are you? Finally, I will feel calm. I'll be able to relax. I'll feel like, just maybe a feeling of safety because there's a divine protection element in this card. So maybe you thought you would feel safe. What will give you those feelings is acknowledging, first of all, that you are divinely protected, because that is, the Temperance card does suggest that. Number one. Number two, regulating emotions and understanding that you're meant to experience level emotions, not extremes all of the time. Extremes seem fun only because you've been experiencing them for so long. But what is actually really fun is just feeling level. When really, really bad things happen, you can kind of keep it together. And when really, really great things happen, you can keep it together. Being able to regulate your emotions is something that is going to make a lot of experiences that you have feel good. And feeling good is usually what you're seeking when you want something that's going to make you feel better, right? So the theme of this reading is temperance, which involves healing, divine protection, emotional regulation. And people associate patience with this card a lot, although I don't give it patience over all the other feelings, because patience is just one aspect. Being impatient or patient, those are those extremes. But a feeling of patience usually comes from a feeling of security. When you're impatient, it's because you aren't certain of an outcome, either the one that you desire or a fear of the one that you don't desire. And so having a sense of security is something that's going to help you to alleviate those feelings of discomfort that come when you are in a state of impatience. All right, let's look at divine masculine energy, the head space. This, remember, is not about gender. Your person has both masculine and feminine characteristics. And I actually reject the idea that we are more strongly in one energy than another, because I actually think that we, just like the temperance card, that we go back and forth. Like, for instance, a lot of feminine identifying gendered individuals would immediately tell you that they are very giving, that they give a lot. To give is a masculine energy, to receive is a feminine energy. So it doesn't really matter how you identify in gender. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just the intellect, action, giving versus the emotions, receiving, and like inaction. It's just two energies. You may notice a lot of the masculine energy traits in your person if they identify as a masculine gendered person, but it's honestly only because of the construct. You're like, you allow for them to have those feelings. You may be less in tune with how they have a feminine aspect because of the construct of gender that we live in and how we associate that with people. Really, if your person is not doing anything, if they are not taking action and they are just sitting there receiving all of your love, affection, and attention, they are in their feminine energy. So that's how you should look at feminine and masculine energy. And hopefully, knowing that and understanding that will help you to know and understand yourself and why you're attracting a person who is reflecting these traits back to you, or the opposite of what you're doing, showing you that you need to be more open or receiving because you've been too giving and taking too much action, right? Okay. So, top of the deck, overall headspace for masculine energy right now is the Three of Wands, which is a feeling of seeing the future potential of something and having faith in it and patiently awaiting this potential. So the ships coming in is associated with this card all the time. It is, I happen to mention patience today with a temperance card. I don't always. So I'm sure that this is an important message coming through today, that right now, your intellect, you are just kind of resigned. You're in a patient state. You're like, I know the good things are coming because I know the work that I've done that ensures that they're on their way. And so I feel very patient about it. I do think that your person who is in this energy is aware that the feminine emotional side of self is waiting for them to take action. So you are waiting for your person to take action, and their emotional side of self is waiting for them to take action towards their emotions. So that's how this card is playing out for masculine energy. For the feminine energy of the heart space, we have the strength card. So there is a feeling of that this weight requires strength, and it requires you to control the ego mind that comes up with all these stories about why you're waiting that usually have to do with lack, or like my person doesn't want to. Hi, it's so good to see you. I missed you, Natalie. I'm just realizing you're here right now. Oh my gosh. So the feeling of controlling the mind in regards to this weight that you're having, it's requiring strength to remain patient. It's requiring strength on your person's part to endure knowing that you are waiting for them to do something. They have to overcome their fears or anxieties about something, but they feel like your connection is strong enough for you to endure the wait. And that can be somewhat frustrating to a certain extent for you because you want this to happen. And it can be kind of annoying to know that your person's like, well, I know our connection is strong enough that she can wait a little longer. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? Because I can't. But you know, actually, that you can. That's what this is about. You know that your feelings are strong enough and you have enough faith that you can wait for this divine masculine energy to show up in his power. And you actually have confidence about it right now. So that's not actually a bad place to be to start out this reading right away. The in the back of the mind, underlying all thoughts and decisions, we have the Chariot energy. So the masculine is realizing or understanding or perceiving that they must come forward. And in order to do that, they basically have to surrender that ego. That's what I was going to say. Surrender the ego mind, and just go with the flow of their emotions, which requires a balance of head and heart. That's represented by the Chariot. So there is this desire, and it's underlying every thought and decision to just surrender finally to their feelings and come forward. Because it is time, as the feminine is feeling, to harvest the abundance. The seeds have been planted. We have all waited long enough, and it's time to actually harvest. Now, tonight is the last night of the fall. So this would be your last moment to be able to gather everything you need for the winter. And there is a feeling of urgency that I'm sensing from that, but at the same time, also a patience that is in place too, which is very interesting. So let's continue. The first thing on the mind and this is something that we've been dealing with consistently, the masculine energy here, the mental conflict, feeling like, again, that message of surrender, because surrender is within the Chariot card. So surrendering and giving up, constantly going back and forth in the mind. So a lot of times I talk about the Seven of Swords, and I say in the Seven of Swords, the Two of Swords is about avoiding the Five of Swords. When you have this mental conflict, you don't want to make a decision because of the conflict, so you avoid the decision. The Five of Swords for me has the Two of Swords and the Three of Swords in it. The Five of Swords is trying to find a way to avoid hurting someone, or the heartbreak, or the pain, or the grief that you have been experiencing. The Three of Swords is about understanding that you're like that Ace of Swords, which is the truth, that either making a decision or not making a decision has caused you pain. And so in the Five of Swords, I feel like we're finally like, okay, I have to admit that I have been avoiding taking any action or doing anything because I have not wanted to cause pain. So I basically given up on anything. There is a positive element of this card, though, because it's like realizing that there is a conflict and you have to surrender to it. Once you do, you arrive at the Six of Swords, which allows you to travel to that new shore that we were seeing in the Three of Wands. Clarifying this is the Page of Cups energy. So the divine feminine has been feeling this true love, feeling also the emotional underdevelopment of the connection, that it's constantly trapped in this place of like teenage love where it's not really mature. They're not really mastering their emotions. They're not really taking it to a level of expression. There's just always this like small exchange, like, romantic, but not necessarily substantive. And if we look at the whole thing together, it's the idea of surrendering to that, just that pure, heart-centered kind of teenage puppy love, true love feelings. Just you can't think your way out of those feelings. So you're finally surrendering to it. So that's what we're seeing there. In the current energy, we're seeing the divine masculine thinking a lot about the Four of Wands in reverse. This can be a prior marriage that has ended. This can be thinking about fear of commitment or not being able to make a commitment. It can be about thinking about not having had healthy foundations in relationships in the past. And it can also be about how this moment of coming together and celebrating and reuniting is just about to happen. The divine feminine is mirroring the masculine's energy here. So the reason why the overall energy of the headspace is patience is because the current energy of the heart space is that Three of Wands energy. So everything I said about the Three of Wands, that feminine feels. And this connection of head and heart is really very significant in for the masculine and feminine energy to be basically on the same page. So there is a feeling of it is almost time for this reuniting or establishing of healthy commitment, healthy foundation in the connection. Where this is going, we have the Three of Cups in reverse. So this is, in this deck, there are two Three of Cups, and this is the original drawing that was unfinished. And in my mind, what that is suggesting to me is that the feminine energy, who was the original focus of the masculine, so this is not going to be necessarily the current person that the divine masculine has been with, or even the current person. It may not be you. It could be their original person that they had a connection with, because there could be somebody who has recently left a marriage and we're seeing the release of the third party. But it could also represent, just like that Four of Wands in reverse can represent the almost being ready to come into that reunion. This is also a card about reuniting, so it could represent how it's almost time to reunite for the original soulmates that wanted to be together in this connection or whatever. It's being clarified by the Ace of Pentacles. So ultimately, I think that your person, if they're reflecting your energy back to you, is wanting to take this offer very seriously. They don't want to play around anymore. They don't want it to be just something that's like a distraction or a side, something on the side. They want it to be something that is at the center of their life. They don't want anything else to come between their ability to give what they feel you deserve, because they feel that you deserve this. You've been waiting a long time. Look at all the rings on this this cross section of this tree. That is representing how ancient that tree is, right? How old that tree is. And this is the original card. So this is something that you've been waiting for a very long time. And there is a feeling of really wanting to give that to you now that they have released whatever third party energy was blocking the connection in the past. It doesn't have to be a person. It can be a behavior, a mindset, an addiction. Clarifying the surrendering to the true love and the connection, we are getting the Ace of Wands, and oh my God, we're getting the Ace of Wands in reverse and the Ace of Wands upright. Okay. So the reason why there wasn't movement is because the masculine energy was denying themselves what they truly desired. So they could not figure out how, even though they felt true love, to give themselves or give you what you desired. And so that is what was kind of keeping them from moving forward or maturing this connection or relationship. But there is an awareness of that. And again, when you have the both head and heart with those same cards, you know that the mind is thinking about what the heart is feeling. And so that's suggesting more of a balance between the head and the heart. Clarifying the Four of Wands in reverse and the Three of Wands is the Hanged Man in reverse and the Ten of Cups. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much for the gift. I really appreciate that, Amanda. So I just Rudolph over here on TikTok. If you're watching this on TikTok, you get to see the funny animated gifts. So this is really significant to me because this is showing that the masculine side of self was allowing the emotional creative side to wait, right? To suspending, and it was painful. This is not a comfortable position to be in for hours and hours and hours, days and days and days, weeks and weeks, months and months, years and years, right? That's not a comfortable position to be in. There is an acknowledgement of the headspace that there is not any reason to keep the feminine waiting for this anymore, because what awaits you both is this alignment that is shown so beautifully in the Wild Unknown Tarot in the Ten of Cups. Spiritual fulfillment. This is happiness and joy and bliss. And the coming together of the two of you really does represent that. So there is this desire to end the wait. And we really saw that right from the first overall energy, which the masculine is acutely aware that the feminine has been waiting. The emotional side of self, the creative side of self has been waiting for the intellectual side to take action. And then we see the surrendering to the emotion, instead of trying to control the situation, just allowing yourself to come forward and give this offer, which is being clarified by the Seven of Cups in the headspace and the Six of Swords, which I talked about at length with the Three of Swords and the Five of Swords. All that I was talking about was how after you surrendered, you can go to the Six of Swords energy, which allows you to learn from the painful experiences you had and go to that shore that you were seeing here in the Three of Wands. I talked about that already. So the outcome then is the masculine must choose a path to be able to bring that feminine energy to that happy place, basically. On the original Six of Swords, the masculine energy is ferrying the divine feminine and the inner child and bringing them to that new shore away from the pain that was experienced. There are many paths, but there is only one choice for the masculine. Like all of these other choices are trumped by that divine feminine energy. So he's definitely going to choose a path to be able to save the connection. Okay, I think that's great. Let's go into the oracles. We will do the divine masculine oracles first. So I'm going to do this kind of like I do the Tell Me Everything spread, where I read you the masculine's words, what he would say, and look at that Hanged Man energy in rebirth. In reverse, the card says a rebirth is assured. This is a killer reading. So, oh, thank you for saying that, Christine. And I've started dealing with some of my issues, and it's definitely helping me a lot. I'm actually taking action. So we're definitely seeing a change. A change is coming. Yes.
Do I mix the salad for you, or do you want me to just put it in a bowl?
Just go ahead and mix it. That's fine. Thank you. So what the masculine would say right now is, what are you refusing to let die? So this is this question. So he's asking himself, what are you refusing to let die? I am gently nudging myself to let go of my need to cling to the familiar story that has already run its course. A new story is poised to be born. Some dreams were only meant to last for a moment in time. Sometimes they were only there to slow you down as you recalibrated in preparation for the new life that will give you what you really want. I may need to grieve as I say goodbye to something, at least something it's at least saying goodbye to something in its familiar form. I must let go of a part of me that must die so I can be reborn. This temporary time in the dark doesn't have to be scary or sad. I am giving my powers of perception and awareness. I am using my powers of perception and awareness as I learn to listen deeply and navigate these unknown caves of temporary emptiness. I will emerge with a new perspective, and I will witness my giving birth to the life that matches the intentions and desires of my heart and soul. Wow. Okay. We're all here for it. The mindset that will help the masculine energy this week is, instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good of all. And I think this is always difficult for the masculine side, because the masculine side really does try to control outcome. And that's that chariot energy of just surrendering. Whatever is going to happen is going to be for the highest good of all. So the way that this might play out is, your person is not coming forward to you because they fear how other people will feel. And so they want everyone else to be happy, and they don't want to cause any trouble. They don't want to cause any turbulence. And so they just don't make this decision for themselves. But what they're not acknowledging is, it's kind of arrogant to think that you are going to be able to control everyone's pleasure or happiness. Like, you don't know what is in the highest good of all. The only thing that you can do is honor your own desires to the best that you can, and pray that it will be for the highest good of all. Because if you ignore your divine feminine side of self, then you're going to be forever kind of chasing your own tail. We're getting Treasure Island coming from my new deck from Abby, by the way, who got me this deck. This is the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Same writer as the Spirit Animal Oracle book, Colette Baron Reed. It is number 9, and this card is definitely associated with like the 9 of Cups, with wish fulfillment. And the essential meanings of it are the law of attraction, bringing dreams into fruition, the results of positive thinking made manifest, abundance appearing as if from nowhere, financial gains, and the sharing of good fortune. So the protection message is: poverty consciousness and a sense of not enough cast a shadow on your path. These ideas and core beliefs come with a high cost. Do you really want to proclaim yourself a victim of disappointment and failed expectations? Are you avoiding success because you will grow so tall that others will want to cut you down? Or is it possible that you're caught in a fear that you will lose what you have acquired, so you hold on so tight that you miss the opportunities to expand? You are challenged to change the way you see the world and move from a perception of limitations to a perception of abundance. Take a risk, for you have nothing to lose except your confinement in a prison of your own making. Open the door and find the abundance waiting for you to claim it. Wowie, wow, wow. Okay, that's pretty in line with what he was really admitting about himself, which I think is a beautiful synchronicity there. And his card for this week is the King of Swords energy. And so for him this week, what he really needs to do is take direct action, communicate in his integrity, and follow some kind of a strategy or plan that his creative side of self is coming up with. So we see here that there is this abundant emotion that the King of Swords is aware of, but he detaches himself from it so that he can do something. So for me, this is a lot of why the masculine hasn't moved, is because of his fear of his emotional reaction or response to the consequences of his actions. He fears the way it will feel when the truth comes out. And so he really has to detach himself from those feelings in order to just bring the truth forward. And, he already is pretty skilled at detaching himself from emotions. So it shouldn't be too difficult for him to just detach himself in order to bring the truth forward, and then be able to handle the emotions that come up because of that temperance energy, because he's divinely protected. Divine feminine energy, from the emotional side of self, we are getting wolf spirit, turn knowledge into wisdom. This is number 67. And what she would say right now is, I am leading you deep into the enchanted forest that holds the secrets to your life. Can you sense me beckoning you to follow, asking you to take all you have learned and all you are learning and make it yours? Can you integrate it all into your body, mind, and spirit? Whatever lessons you learned along the way, do not leave them unexamined. Be loyal to your dreams, to your soul, and to turning knowledge into wisdom and experience into magic. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Be still and know that the sound of our hearts beat in harmony with the whole world. My appearance is an auspicious omen that says that you are truly in alignment with your destiny. Yeah, the Divine Feminine is deep in her knowing right now. All of her cards were upright. Yeah, all of her cards were upright. So she had no self-doubt. She started out this entire thing with her strength and confidence. So the heart knows and feels that wisdom and is basically speaking to the intellect, like embrace this intellect. I'm seeing your comments here, Christine. The mindset for Divine Feminine to embrace this week is, when I accept the love of the universe as my primary teacher, I will always be guided back to the light. So in all things, just accept that learning how to love from wherever you are, that's your primary teacher, and that's always going to guide you back to your mission, your purpose, etc. This card is a stalker card, the Chaos and Conflict card from the Wisdom of the Oracle. So this is an energy of things are turbulent or have been turbulent, but everything is about to work out in your favor. But let me give you the actual description because it is very beautiful, actually. The essential meanings are disarray, being at cross purposes with another, the tension of opposites, the value of chaos before order. Opposing forces come together to create a turbulent atmosphere. But consider the value of chaos that serves you well as you become unmoored by it. Scattered to the winds, you leave behind the parts of yourself you no longer need and disperse seeds to reinvent yourself anew. Although the conflict appears to exist externally, its essence is also internal, projected outward and causing disarray. You may find yourself at cross purposes with someone else, facing a storm you feel you can't control. Yet every storm passes and chaos leads to a reordering of things. Conflict provides a way to see more than one side of a situation. Look upon this as just a moment in time when you may need to take shelter and step away from the fray. Don't be too eager to fight. This is a time to understand rather than to be understood. Stubbornness is keeping you in a state of opposition. The incessant need to be right will only serve to protect the conflict that deep down you want to be resolved. This is an opportune moment to learn about your values, your sense of self, what's really important to you. Some things are non-negotiable. If that's true, it's not necessary to fight. Can you find a way through the stormy emotions to a higher ground? Soon the air will clear and you will be in a much better place than before, for the storm will have passed, blazing a path for new growth in its wake. Things can become electric and enlightened, always better than before, if you use this time constructively. So that is a profound message for feminine energy. And her work this week is the Eight of Cups. And I love this Eight of Cups. It's one of my favorite depictions of the Eight of Cups. You can tell that this person is either taking a break while she is packing or unpacking. For the Eight of Cups, we're usually leaving something behind, and she looks pretty upset. So there is an element here that she is sort of kind of going through her memories as she's packing up to leave. But we could also look at it as if she has just arrived in her new place and she is unpacking, and the nostalgia from where she has been is also coming up. So those are all themes that might be coming up for you this week. Ultimately, though, when you move away from the things that aren't serving you, you're heading towards your higher purpose. You're leaving behind that chaos and conflict, and you're going towards what is much more peaceful, right? This temperance energy. So this can also represent a return, somebody coming back who has gone away, somebody who knew that they left you sort of on your own to handle all of these things, maybe returning to you to make up for it at this time. So that is all I have for you for the collective tune in for this week. I am going to head over here to TikTok and pull a few cards for subscribers or anyone who would like an $11 personal reading. So if you would like that, you can find me on TikTok at Pearl's Prayers. I will see you next week. Don't forget, this divine tune in will probably be coming out on Wednesdays now, because the zodiac readings will probably be done on Mondays. So I will see you next Wednesday for the collective tune in. You can also catch some of the TikTok replays that I do try to repost consistently through the week. And if you become a member, you will have access to the Tell Me Everything reading that I post on Saturdays on an unlisted YouTube playlist. So please consider, if you haven't already done so, subscribing or becoming a member to support my channel. Booking private readings is a really great way to help me this week. It is Christmas. I have to travel, and I definitely need all the support that you are able to give. Anybody who books a private reading this week is going to be entered into a drawing for a free ticket to the January 7th event. Those tickets are $100. There are 20 some tickets available right now. It's an amazing day. There's going to be even more description on the site soon with the actual schedule, so you can see what we're going to be doing the whole day. It will be not just me, but a couple other practitioners who will be helping you to envision your life. I'm very excited about it. It's going to be this week. You'll be getting a welcome packet. If you've purchased a ticket, your welcome packet will be coming out this week. And there will be two versions. You'll get the first part, which will kind of give you a sense of everything that we're going to do that day. And the second part is actually going to give you the preparatory materials you will need to have everything you need in place for the retreat on Saturday the 7th. So all of that information is available on my website. Don't forget, you can book a free 15-minute reading with me if you want to talk to me about working one-on-one, or if you have questions about certain readings or which reading is best for you. Any reading that is under an hour, the time frame that you book it doesn't really matter, because I will be sending you a pre-recorded reading. But if you do book an hour-long reading and expect to see me face-to-face, make sure you choose a time that you will be available for a video chat or a phone call. Thank you so much, everybody. I will see you on YouTube next week, and I'm taking it over here to TikTok. Have the best day.